These people want to understand the crimes of the past. They're traveling to the former death camp, Auschwitz-Birkenau. Dr. Leon Weintraub wanted his wife Eva Maria to accompany him. The 89-year-old is an Auschwitz survivor. Weintraub, who was born in Poland, emphasizes he's here voluntarily today. That's important to him.
I think that was the women's camp.
The group includes young and old, Germans, Ukrainians and Russians. They've come for the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And they've come to hear Leon Weintraub and other survivors of the camp talk.
Those were the wooden barracks over there, and that's where I was. I must have been in block number 10 because I could always see the women's camp to the right.
How does his wife feel about being here?
I'd say it's very disturbing. Sad.
Has what happened to her husband influenced her life as well?
Probably indirectly, though not consciously.
She's a good soul. And it's to her credit that she's put up with me for more than 40 years.
It was no sacrifice.
I hope not.
The Weintraubs are here for the second time. They've come back together to share with younger generations what Leon Weintraub endured, to make sure it's not forgotten. The group accompanies Leon Weintraub to places closely associated with the horrors of the Holocaust. In the former women and children's barracks in Auschwitz-Birkenau, Leon Weintraub briefly steps away from the group. Does this place also evoke memories?
I have to think about my sisters. They were probably interned here. Their hair was shaved off. They had scarves on their heads. It's unfathomable, really. It's so vividly etched in my mind, even though it's 70 years ago. It can't be erased.
Leon Weintraub's two sisters also survived Auschwitz and the Holocaust. His mother, Nadia Weintraub, was gassed by the SS on her arrival at the death camp. So was his aunt Eva. All Leon Weintraub has from his mother is a single photograph and the memory of their life together until he was 17 and came to this place. It's cold today, despite warm shoes, thick jackets and warm hats. Leon Weintraub patiently answers everyone's questions.
My first impression? I was clutching my rucksack, and this man in a striped prisoner's uniform tore it out of my hands, and I said, "I have my postage stamps in there." And he said, "Nobody comes here to live." And I thought, what is he talking about? And then came the painful realization that this was not a place for life, not with its electrified fence with wires running along it. People weren't meant to survive here.
His young listeners want to document and pass on his memories. But it's not easy for them to remain passive observers. They go back to their lodgings to process their experience of Auschwitz. One of them, Tina, was surprised by her own reaction.
When we were in Birkenau and Auschwitz, I felt like I was in a bubble. I thought I'd feel sad and become very emotional. That happened in some situations, but often I was puzzled that nothing came. That I just stood there feeling empty.
Holocaust survivors and this group of young people spent a week together in Auschwitz. They talked together in small groups. For instance, with Jacek Celinewicz, who was only a few years younger than his listeners when he was sent to the camp. The number of survivors who can tell their stories is dwindling, but many people want to hear them, like Philipp Daum, who's studying journalism.
Well, I knew somehow what Auschwitz meant in German history, what its effect was on post-war German society, that there's a consensus that Auschwitz should never happen again. But I wanted to know what it was like for those people who were there, what they experienced, how they felt, and how they lived with having been part of it. And that's why I'm here. That's what I've learned.
Leon Weintraub has brought something special with him. The few photos and documents that remain from his past.
That's my ghetto worker's ID from September 1943. I was 17.
You were so handsome.
Not exactly handsome, but special.
For both the survivors and the group, the deluge of tragic fates, impressions and images is deeply moving. They're struggling together to make sure none of this is forgotten. And that's why Eva Maria Weintraub accompanies her husband on his mission, which is still unfinished.
When you look at the situation in Europe, where, unfortunately, there's a political move to the right in certain countries, it's important for him that people protest against it, each in our own way.
The younger people here are also interested in the perpetrators, how it began, and the connection to the current racist Pegida protests in Germany.
We just had a debate about them, because I said the people who did this must have been sick monsters, and my colleague said no, they were ordinary people. That's what's so bad. They were ordinary people who murdered Jews, and then listened to Bach. I think that's happening now too, with the whole Pegida movement. They're targeting the middle classes, again, ordinary people. It gives me the shivers just to think about it.
Macht mir Gänsehaut, wenn ich nur dran denke.
Leon Weintraub returns to the death camp for one more interview. Overnight, a thick blanket of snow has settled over the countryside. The colour on the ground merges seamlessly into the sky. Before the group leaves, Leon Weintraub agrees to answer a few more questions. What does this place represent?
The most extreme limits of the imagination. Charlotte Dahlberg said it in English.
They expected the worst, but not the unthinkable.
It's truly unique in the history of the world.
Aber nicht das Undenkbare, nicht Unvorstellbare. Das ist wirklich einmalig in der Weltgeschichte.
What if it were forgotten?
Das wäre wieder.
It would raise the possibility that something like this could happen again.
Wieder passieren kann. Denn
keeping its memory alive is a way of ensuring that it can't occur again.
Ist eine Art Gewehr, dass sowas nicht wieder
and forgetting it is the worst thing we could do.
machen kann.